Yes, they are lesser known sports, but if they explore it, they'll just become better skilled human beings.
I would normally think that the perfect person to recruit for rugby is someone who would be this badass person with some temper problems.
And one of our coaches says, I can sit outside and I can see your souls. I believe rugby is chess played on in physical form. Taking contact,
Yes.
withstanding it, and getting up again is very empowering. I can withstand this. Then bloody hell, what's going back on at home is like fiddle shit.
Mm,
Should she be exposed to sport, that house looks very different.
mm. It's an amazing feeling to know that all of us, every single human being, has at one point in time within their life been an athlete. Okay? I'm referring to the fact, and you can't recall this, but you have been a sperm cell that made its way through millions of others to make it through, and you have been that champ at least once before, right? So that's pretty ironic, but the fact is, after that, we are conditioned into another sort of rat race. And that makes me jealous of people who are and who live as an athlete because from their side, they've been consistent from day one, right? And let me come to the topic. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Badass Adventure Talks. Today I am honored here to have with me a sporting icon. A person who makes me comfortable in knowing that there's always an alternative rather than studies that us desis can grow up in beyond the madness of cricket and football as well. There's always an alternative, and she's proof of concept. In 2019, the Indian women's rugby team earned its first international victory. Division 1 Asia Rugby Women's Championship took place in Singapore. And I have here with me a key force within that victory. Vabis Baruja.
Yes,
Am I pronouncing it right?
it is correct.
I did the
Yes.
same thing earlier as well in my last
Yes.
podcast. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you.
I don't mind standing in this sun to make sure that I get her on the show. So, Babis, thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
We're here today at a sporting venue, and Babis is going to be part of the crew taking care of things. But let's deep dive. I'd like to start by requesting you to introduce us to the evolution of rugby in India because for a lot of people, rugby, India, it's still the case.
Yeah.
Although I've done a little bit of reading and I've understood that rugby has been there since the colonial times.
Correct.
And the first recorded match was somewhere in the 1800s
Yes.
in Kolkata.
In Calcutta, yeah.
Yeah. So
And the cup still exists.
exactly. And for some other people who know a little bit more, they know that Rahul Bose was also into the rugby circuit.
Yeah.
And I think he's now the
President, yes.
of Indian Rugby Union, whatever.
Correct.
So that's where the know-how stops. But could you tell me, could you tell us about what has been, where has rugby been ever since that era to date?
So the men's rugby started obviously much earlier on in the late 1900s and in the late 90s actually, and that's where the men's rugby came about with the prestigious clubs like the Calcutta Cricket and Football Club, the Bombay Gymkhana Club, and the Tamil Nadu police team.
Really?
There used to be this team called the Armenians. So these were supposed to be the teams that got together and played a little bit of 15s rugby back in the day, and they had decided that, you know what, why not come together and form an Indian team and participate in an international tournament. That's when they realized that they need to form a union. So that's where the Indian Rugby Union was formed, and from there onwards, I'll fast forward it to 2009, where the men's rugby had its ups and downs, and they'd keep playing the 15-a-side format, and then 7-a-side was something that seemed more palatable to the Indians because
You mentioned it
lesser.
as the T20 version of
It's a
rugby.
T20 version of of rugby. So you have the 15-a-side rugby, which is the main version of the sport, like Test cricket, where it's 15 players in playing
One
on
side.
field.
Oh, okay.
A team is made of 23 members,
All right.
and the game goes on for 80 minutes.
Wow.
Whereas the 7-a-side format is a much smaller format where you have 7 people playing on the same field, but only for 15 minutes full time.
Okay.
So, so the 15-a-side format was coming and going with its happening, and sevens sort of kicked off in the nation. It was only in 2009 when the union decided that, you know what, many of these clubs started cropping up in the city, and along with the men's team, that was the same phase of the Bend It Like Beckham phase.
Okay.
And at this I'm talking of 2007ish, 2008,
Right.
where a lot of girls started playing football,
Yeah.
and coincidentally these football clubs would be on the same ground as the rugby coaching would happen, or in the same club.
Right.
And because football is played on the same field length and rugby is played on the same field length, the girls would be encouraged to, come and join rugby
All right.
for while the season is lasting, because rainy season you'll have fun in holding a ball and
Sure.
slushing around in the mud.
Mm.
And that's where it started off, until there were about 7 or 6 clubs
All right.
that had formed women's teams, and they approached the union saying that, you know what, we have women who play rugby, why not have a nationals? So they said, okay, what what can go wrong, let's
Yeah.
hold a nationals. And
This was in.
2009.
Okay.
So 2009 was when the nationals happened for the first time for women in Bombay, at the Bombay Gymkhana. After which there was a selection for the first ever Indian women's rugby camp that was happening back then. And from there, the first ever team traveled to Thailand to play its first international. And ever since then, we've had, obviously the initial teething problems that were there, and we would have only one tournament every year that we would look forward to. So it was the senior national tournament, and then the international
Right.
of our age category. But when we came closer to the 2019 World Cup,
Okay.
and I will take it back 3 years to 2015-16.
All right.
That space is where we got a huge sponsorship as Societe Generale.
Oh, yeah.
It's a French bank.
Yes.
So they came on as a huge support, because it was World Rugby's campaign towards the World Cup.
Yeah.
So they wanted to build a lot of people and public to just watch the World Cup, because it was the first time that a World Cup was happening in Asia. It was happening at Japan.
And India was part of it.
No, India was not part of it. It's a huge long
It's another
process.
story.
That's another story. But because India is one of the major like in terms of population contenders in Asia, they wanted to target markets like China and India
Of-
just for the sheer eyeballs.
Yes.
I hope the eye
Yeah.
came in that.
I got it. I got you.
So in 2016, World Rugby had initiated a Get Into Rugby program. So the Get
Okay.
Into Rugby program was basically the ball has to touch as many hands as possible. So because of that, a lot of development and grassroots development ended up happening in the country,
Okay.
which was missing in the past few years between say 2009 to 2015. That was missing, that grassroots development.
And the sponsorship helped a lot.
It helped massively, and they were in fact sponsors with us for through the years
Okay.
up until very recently.
Okay.
So that's what happened in 2016, where the support came in.
Okay.
And then up until 2019, by the time it was the time for the World Cup, India had reached the maximum numbers of the Get Into Rugby program achieved.
Okay.
We topped the list in Asia.
All right.
So
That was
that's in 3 years, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And then COVID happened to all of us. And then in 21 is where this new era sort of emerged.
Okay.
So all those kids who ended up handling the ball
Yes.
before in 2019, 18, etc., now were in just that right amount of age at, the under 18 age category between 16, 17, 18. And we ended up having a massive high performance camp for them.
Okay.
And they ended up achieving a silver medal at their age of competition.
Okay.
And now we're here in 23, where close to about 26 states.
Okay.
So where I started at 7 clubs
Yes.
back in 2009.
Yes.
Here we've come 15 years down the line. There's 27 states or 29 states are
Okay.
playing the sport actively.
Yeah.
Later on this year, there will be the nationals in Pune. So if you guys are around, please do come and see the amount of people that play the sport. Most of the states have their associations recognized by their state Olympic authorities. People are getting government jobs today because of the sport, because of their contribution towards the sport at the national or at the international level. And I mean, it's in the pipeline, but the Rugby India is uh, going to has initiated talks about having a Rugby Premier League,
Okay.
later on this year, which is only for the men's. They will start with the men's, and then
That's progress in itself.
yeah, absolutely. So you've gone from a place of not having enough players,
Yes.
and doing a seven-a-side format and pushing that to reaching a point where you have enough players to make a 15s team, and then you have the 15s nationals, and then you have the under 18 age category that's happening, and it's doing well. And then this entire pipeline has been put into place. We now have a high performance program that runs for rugby whenever we're in our national camps. So that's sort of been the trajectory of the sport.
Wonderful. I think that's amazing. And all of this just within a space of what? Less than 10 years?
15 years, yeah.
15? Amazing. Wabis, I've heard about this amazing progression of yours, which started from athletics and then to shot put and then to handball and then
Yeah.
to rugby.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way to the day you ventured into rugby, the day after your 10th standard board exams.
Yeah.
That's monumental. There's an interesting story in this as well. Anybody who can YouTube around for like lectures from Babis would know the story. It's even there on plenty of write-ups. That's why I'm not going through it. But what's notable in this are two things. Firstly, your insatiable quest for sporting. It's been like there since day one.
Yeah.
I think it comes from the family, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And secondly, the people around you who have been pushing you
Yeah.
into this.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of sporting enthusiasts would actually be envious if they got to know about the kind of push that you've received throughout. Would I be right in saying that you've been fortunate to have the right people, the right environment, the right timing to have progressed? Or is there anything that I've not said right?
No, absolutely. I consider myself completely fortunate to, and I wouldn't even doubt that on a single day, to have an extremely supportive family and extremely supportive friends. More than supportive, they've just always been so instrumental in my growth. When there are times when I used to, back in the day, I used to update my friends about, oh, we lost this match. So they're
Mm.
like, no problem, it's just one match, you'll get on with it.
But what did you watch as a child? What kind of sporting? Was it on TV or was it seeing your friends and family?
I never I never saw my father or my uncle play any sport.
Okay,
I just, my dad used to run at one, we used to do
okay.
racing.
We used to watch the English Premier League, maybe some little bit of wrestling, which is bullshit. We
So
know,
I used to not, as a child, I used to not like watching sport at all.
right?
Because my first memory of watching sport on TV was cricket and football, which just took so long to get over.
Okay.
And it didn't seem the same when you play it.
Yeah.
Um, so that sort of didn't catch me much to sit in front of a TV and watch games until until into my much into my rugby career. One of our coaches had encouraged us. They said that if you don't watch games, you will never actually be able to imagine things in your head. Because you've never seen it, and until the time comes that somebody coaches it to you, your career might end.
Yeah.
So it's the best. It's like studying. You need to watch more games. You need to watch match scenarios, videos, and it's all available for you. It's not like you have to go and buy a ticket and go to another country. It's all in your phone. So that is where my habit of watching matches actually came through. This is much later into my 20s. Until then, I haven't watched
It
much
was
sport.
always the real deal instead of the real deal,
Yeah,
as we
yeah,
call it. Okay.
yeah. And also, like, love to watch stuff happening in front of me. So in school, when we used to play, or
Yeah.
you know, teams are playing against each other,
That's
and this
true.
school versus that
Yes.
school, and that was
The
great.
competitive spirit in such events is beautiful.
Yeah,
So I totally agree with what
yeah.
you're
So
saying.
that stuff I used to sit and wait to see what the end was.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And for a typical Indian, there's that moment that comes in life where you have to decide between sport and academics. What do you suggest on how one should play his cards right from your experience?
Well, it was very simple for me. Um I had decided that I wanted to be in sport,
Mm,
and I knew that I had to have an educational
mm,
backup.
mm. And you have your parents behind you saying, Beta, this is important as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, dad was very, very strict from the start regarding our marks, and mom was a little okay about it because she knew the truth about their results. We only got to know about dad's much later on, but uh, dad was very, very strict about getting good marks, and because marks was your only way through.
Yeah.
It was, you didn't have all the options that are there now,
Okay.
and I'm speaking only 10 years ago,
That's true.
literally. So because of that, the whole academic understanding the academic importance was there,
Yeah.
and I knew I wanted to be a part of sport, whatever way it would be.
Okay.
And that's where I had decided that these are the two things I want to do. Friends, socializing, all of that happens, in the middle of it. Like if you put two big rocks in a glass of water and then you pour the water, that water was the friends and the socializing and everything. It fits somewhere in the middle, but nothing else can occupy the space into those two, apart from those two rocks.
Understood.
And you sort of start eliminating so many things that are not necessary in your life. uh, like for me, vacations, going out, taking long trips, it just didn't seem right to me because it was taking away from the time from these two things.
From the
And I
focus.
wouldn't say that studies was my strength or anything, but I knew that I needed to do something until I had a degree in my hand, and I needed to sort of struggle that way.
And
But
I think having a degree from that right college or university is also important because that also led you or pushed you into sporting, right?
it was, again, I was very fortunate to have very supportive institutes. My school, my junior college, my degree college, all of them were very supportive in terms of, okay, we're giving you your time to to succeed as an athlete. We're not going to hold you back on that, but you need to promise us your academic performance as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a fair thing to ask for. I cannot keep asking you for leaves and for time. And I also I also made sure that I had a reputation of not bunking college or bunking classes for no reason, just to go watch a movie and all that. That was really not my scene. So you somewhere need to, my advice is that you need to understand that, you know what, give some get some.
Mm.
And if your get is as this,
Mm.
I'd give all of that
Away.
time pass time away.
All right. And at a young age, what kind of mental conditioning do you think needs to be created so that we look beyond typical sports like cricket or maybe even football?
I wouldn't say that a young mind needs to be mentally conditioned. I do think that children need to play more sport.
Okay.
And it is,
But you know how fixated we get at cricket here.
yeah, but Azad, I've been to many schools
Mm.
in my locality. I mean, I wouldn't say I've been to like 100 schools, but let's say I've been to 10 schools. And I've been to all of those schools' ka sports room. They all have many equipment.
All right.
So I would certainly say that, with regards to the schools at least, they're providing all the sports equipment that is required, including cricket, including the shot put, including the medicine balls, including the basketball. Sab hai.
The choice is yours.
Yes. And automatically, because you watch so much cricket, you
Mm.
want to play it.
Mm.
And it's not a bad thing. But I do think that the school should not just now provide this, but should give opportunities to the children to play these sports. Because yes, there are cricket competitions, yes, there are football competitions, but put them into the wrestling, put them into kho. Yes, they are lesser known sports, but if they explore it, they'll just become better skilled human beings.
They might find the right one instead of just being put into that.
Correct, correct. And you know everybody wants to play for their country. Any
Yes.
athlete who has taken
Absolutely.
the chosen sport wants to play for their country. But the harsh reality is, I mean, in rugby, the only 12 members can make it to the team.
Mm.
You have 5,000 people playing,
Okay.
but 12 will only make it.
All right.
So you also have to sort of find out what is that right nook for you.
Mm. That other alternative that might be a budding sport in India. You
Might
never
be,
know.
yeah. You
Yeah.
never know.
Okay. I remember you saying in one of these interviews about you being exposed to fencing, was it?
Yeah,
And I was like, fencing exists
yeah,
here in India?
yeah. And it was at such a grassroots level. We were literally, our those face
Mm-hmm.
masks had holes in
Mm-hmm.
them, and we were using some India players' equipment because he was doing well, and this is how we've been exposed to sport. I've played a lot of sports, and you've read it in the articles. I've done in athletics. I've done almost all the events. I'm not skilled for it, but my coach made sure that he pushed me into it just so that I develop as an athlete. And this is the same system, by the way, which they use in a lot of school systems abroad,
Okay.
where 6 months
Okay.
you have to give to one sport.
All right.
Then you change your sport after 6 months.
That's
And then you change your sport after 6 months. So, in let's say 5 years of school, in your senior school, or
Uh-huh.
even your young age, you've already played 10 sports.
true.
10.
And you find the right one
You
that'll
find the
take
right
you.
one then.
Okay. That's amazing.
And if you are, if the coaches identify you earlier, you're obviously groomed into that process.
Because my next question is pretty much on the same lines, but I think you've answered it. Because I was going to ask you, do you need to keep trying out new things?
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
must. You must. In fact, even last year we were at camp, and we had played one of our tournaments and come back. And all the girls, we had a very long campaign. So we were 60 days in camp
Mm-hmm.
by the time that we had come back, and there was one more campaign to go for.
Okay.
And the girls were just feeling so. We lost the final match, so we were very disheartened.
Okay.
And then, when you lose something, you sort of lose hope and you don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
And that's when our coaching team decided that, chuck a football in the middle of these girls,
Okay.
and let's just change their complete mentality out. And we were having so much fun just playing football.
Yes.
And it just, and in warm up we used to do it.
Right.
So rather than doing your very typical warm ups, which are oh, pull your knee here and swing your leg there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ta 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 ta, we were playing football, and it was so enjoyable. And then the rugby that we did after that, it was helping us just play the rugby better.
Indeed.
So I definitely feel that what you were asking about the mental conditioning, I think I'd change that a little bit and say the kids need to be physically conditioned to play any sport.
That's true.
Oh, and try all sports, whatever is in your reach. I wouldn't say go out of your way and all of that. Pick up a badminton racket, pick up a table tennis racket, understand these sports. Like what I feel a little shocked and a little, it, I hold a little regret about it is that I never tried tennis as a child.
All right.
I did try once when my brothers were getting coached, but I whacked that ball so hard out of the park that the coach said,
Stick to rugby.
stick to this. No, at that time athletics. So he was like, "You're good in athletics." I said, "Yes, coach." So I never actually got a chance to explore tennis, lawn tennis as a sport. So I would tell any youth, any parent that do many sports,
That's true.
do many sports.
I think that's been
And nowadays there's you have your rock climbing and you have
yes.
sepak throw, the volleyball over the
Oh
net
yes.
with the foot,
Oh yeah.
and you have just so many things that
So
are
many
there.
other-
There's that mountain biking and the stunt things. Now skateboarding has become a thing. They've built an arena in Bombay. It's
It's getting so much diverse.
it's getting so diverse. Skating is not anymore take that pakkad and
Yes.
set up your metal skates.
Yep.
It's become so much different, and with sports brands coming up like anything, equipment is available at your doorstep.
True. And there's a culture growing around it too. so-
Yeah. Thanks to all our athletes who are doing so much on the Indian front, like on the national front. Uh, the awareness about sport is also building.
True.
And if not everybody can be an athlete, not everybody can take that path.
Yes.
But at least expose them to it.
That's true. Now I'll take one step back because you mentioned about the girls falling to failure or all that kind of defeat. I don't know if that's the right word, but you yourself mentioned failure is feedback. A profound quote that is. And my second guest within the talk show was this athlete who said that he missed many years from his sporting career. He was a sprinter. The whole trajectory just because he didn't get proper support to state that his injury was something that he needed to take a break from. Or, sometimes you're like, I don't care if I'm injured, but I got to complete that goal before the end of this academic year so that I get my marks or whatever. So you don't have that proper guidance, and that cost him a lot.
Okay.
So this brings light to the fact that there needs to be enough systems around that nurture athletes.
Yeah.
Does it break the bank to find really good institutions and coaches here in this country? You have to travel to different corners of the place, or what is it like? How does one find somebody, a coach who's actually hungry to grow you over and beyond that coaching fee?
Um, my knowledge about this is not much. I only know this much that you don't have to go far and wide to look for a good coach. They are usually in your vicinity, and it is also dependent on how open are the students. If I go up to a coach and be like, what is he going to teach me? Look at him, how he looks. You've killed it for yourself.
That's
because he's doing his job, he's going to sit coaching. But should you go there thinking that, you know what, I'm going to gain as much out of this guy as I can, because even if it's 2 years more, that's still 2 years more experience than
What
I
you-
have right now.
That's true.
And I can gain that experience or that knowledge out of this person.
That's true.
And it's literally, I would say it's both ways. It's even about how hungry the coaches are to impart knowledge to the kids. But it's certainly, I'd say the onus lies a lot on the student to grasp from the coach.
And then he can move on, find someone better. too.
Sure, I mean that's now that option is there massively right now. Back in the day, you found one coach aise mushkil se, and then you had to stick with them till you made it.
Yeah.
And it also a lot of again, I was very lucky that I found a good coach. I was very lucky that all the way through, I've always had coaches who've not been behind my back in any way, but they've just been so perfect about their coaching. And I have a feeling that our country or our cities have many of these coaches.
Yeah.
We somehow go by the appearance of people,
Hmm.
and we just think that no, they might not know that much
All right.
until you open your doors and you're just like, wow.
And many of these are not on social media. These
No,
personalities,
they
these amazing.
aren't at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I don't know how to put that, but that isn't that necessary.
I
I
I
don't think
wouldn't.
everyone's
I
made for
don't think
fit for
so.
social media, isn't it?
No,
Just
I
stick
don't
to
think
what they
so.
do
I don't
best.
think social media can get you to a good coach.
Okay,
I
interesting.
don't think so.
Because that's the go-to for most of the youth, you know.
There's, I I mean, it might sound philosophical, but it is a calling.
Yeah,
You'll find the right felly.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll come to the felly in a bit because
yeah.
that's something that came in my mind too. But here's the next one. Um, Now, I would normally think that the perfect person to recruit for rugby is someone who would be this badass person with some temper problem, you know?
Okay.
Okay. But I've come to know that you yourself, you're a very gentle person. And I know that from sources. Look at that blush out there. And you are absolutely more gentle to animals as well.
Yeah, I just fired one guy over here because he raised his hands on one.
Yep. So, what is this mental prep required in rugby versus other contact sports when you are absolutely not this guy who just wants to go into the field and just take people down?
So rugby is a sport that is meant for all, and I say it when I say all, I mean all shapes and sizes, all backgrounds, all upbringings, all classes.
You don't have to be well built or
You don't.
whatever.
I mean, I'll come to that point,
Okay.
but you you will find a spot for yourself in the team. Should you, again coming back to, should you have the intention of breaking the opponent, no matter what their size and shape be. When you spoke of angry, big, aggressive, you have players who fight a lot at home and come for training,
Mm,
and they remove that aggression onto field.
that's
Whereas for some people like me, aggression doesn't help. It lands you in a worse situation because I'm used to I'm I'm the kind of person who will segregate it out in front of me and be like, okay, problem check, problem check. But in this, if I'm gonna be angry, I'm just gonna see everything as a haze, and I'm just not gonna actually understand what the problem is. So we're many kinds who make a team. So as we would have that one girl in the team or those two girls in the team who would be short tempered, we have to have that balance out. So I'm happy to play that role. um, so mm, Coming to your question about the size, um, it does matter when it's a one-on-one,
yeah.
and it's
It's
you
an advantage.
it it is an advantage. You're right, like it is an advantage, but it's not that it'll be a walkover. It's just that that person has that one extra edge over you. Let's just say it's a tall person and a
If I
short
look at
person.
Rahul Bose, I think he's short, isn't he?
Yes, in
I'm,
comparison
I
to
don't
the
want to
rest of
get
the
pinpointed by social media in case he
in
isn't.
comparison to the other rugby players, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
but he
capable.
had a space on on the field. Yeah,
Exactly.
he played a role.
All right. Okay. I coming to this spirit of aggression again. I've seen these performances happen internationally. These kind of war cry ceremonies that take place. I don't even know what it's called.
It's
Uh
it's called a haka.
Haka. Okay. So does that happen here in India? Has your team built up one? Do you think it's necessary or not? They see something.
You see, such kind of things are nice if they're cultural. So when you see the kids coming onto the field, they'll say Ganpati Bappa, and everybody will say
Yes.
together Moria,
Yes.
or they'll say Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj ki Jai.
Yes.
So I guess that would be our version of the war cry. But these war cries have come from generations and they pass down generations and generations. It's almost every family knows these war cries because that was what their ancestors were.
Did, yes.
They would fight and
Because this is
fight
a
for land.
taunting
And
game. You do that to your opponent to kind of break them down
no,
prior to
so
the match?
um, uh,
Sort of.
it's legacy,
Okay.
and like I said, it's culture
Okay.
that the Maoris have always
Maoris.
had that place wherever they whichever battle they go to fight. So it's also like uh, how do I say it? What's the word? I'm not getting the word. Uh, like a testimony kind of a thing,
Okay.
where they're paying homage to
The souls.
the souls, and
Yes.
but what I would think the main reason for doing the war cry is to just get the entire energy together.
Mm.
Yes, it is intimidating, when you're standing on field and 26 men are like, with their bodies
I've
thumping,
seen women do this, and
and
then
women doing it, but the women also do it. You're right, the women also do it. So it's just what it does, what I would assume it does is just brings that whole momentum together. It just gets the whole energy together.
yeah, and for me as a spectator as well, it just takes you somewhere. And
Yeah, it's it's rugby is a spectator sport.
indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen lovely reels come out from your page involving the team. Shows that peppy vibe that everybody has
Yeah.
alongside the sporting spirit. Uh, Besides the regular questions that everybody throws out at you, could you tell us about your family, your team? Who are they? Where do they come from? What are their specialities? What clicks in them?
So, wow, the team is very diverse. We come from, if I'll start from east, so we come West Bengal, we have Orissa, we have Delhi, we have Bihar, we have Gujarat, we have Maharashtra, we have Delhi. So we have people, like I said, coming from so many very different backgrounds. Some people, some players' parents are businessmen. Some players' parents are working in the tea gardens. Some players' parents are just homemakers. Some players don't have a parent. Some players have always grown up in an orphanage. So when we come together, and something as simple as sitting on a dining table and eating, where you'll find someone eating very dignified with their spoon. You might find somebody just poking at their food with a fork. You might find somebody who's using their whole hand to eat. You might find somebody who's just using three fingers to eat. There are people who break their chapati with one hand, and then there is people who tear their chapati apart. There's people who don't have chapati at all. And that's where you realize what everyone comes from, how much food they take in their plates, how much food they waste, what are they used to. And as we sit at the dining table and converse with each other, that, hey, what's up, what's happening back at home? Oh, all's good. And, my father grows tea and we have these many farms. And, oh, okay, what does your dad do? Oh, he has a business. Oh, okay, great. So at that dining table is where we get all our players information, and it's a very nice space to exchange conversation on. Obviously sport brings out the worst in you. When you're on field is when the real you comes out.
Yeah.
And one of our coaches says, I can sit outside and I can see your souls. So sometimes that scares me, because when I play and there's a little rage in me, I'm like, shit, he's watching, he's gonna look at what I'm doing. So you can actually see what everyone's intention is, and how everyone is there to certainly look out for themselves. But because we train together and because we love one another, we're there to protect each other.
Yeah. And your coach picks up from you just
Yeah.
by looking at you.
Yeah.
That's how much time you spent with each
Absolutely.
other to sense.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
And so that's where everyone comes from. So sometimes when we have a few quarrels in the team, and obviously, there is no group of women I know who have peacefully sat for 60 days together. There will be some or the other quarrel that will take place. And I keep like, we keep trying to remind one another that none of our five fingers are the same,
Yeah.
but still when they put together they become the tightest that is possible for you.
Yeah.
So we need to be like this, be your own, but understand that the other is being their own as well.
True.
Don't try and pick on each other's shortcomings, or don't try and just pick fights
Yeah.
because you don't have any other work in life to do.
And then that's the beauty of sport anyway. You don't judge
Yeah.
except based on whatever background or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah. Um, Babis, you've mentioned that rugby helps or has helped yourself accept failure graciously.
Mm.
Uh, what does a locker room look like after a loss in a tournament?
um
Or like, what could be some example of setbacks that have happened and how you've bounced back? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? We all want to bounce back from that setback.
yeah. So within the sport in itself, before I go to the locker room, we encounter many of those setbacks. And that setback can be a loss of ball.
Mm,
That setback can be getting tackled, because all you want to do is take the ball and go across and put the ball down.
that's
But on the way, there's just seven people who are stopping you. And you make 2 meters and they tackle you. And then you make 3 meters and they tackle you. Now they steal the ball and they run 10 meters that way. So you're continuously experiencing very small amounts of failure.
yeah.
The only way to overcome that is by bloody getting onto your field and doing what you're supposed to do. That is, take that ball and go on that side. Now, should you, if I get tackled and I'm going to be like, oh no, again they tackled me, I'm so tired, I'm just going to give up. I'm going to be there. The 3 seconds of thought has wasted my 3 seconds in getting up and getting back, which is 3 seconds later for me to get into line with my team. And then that's the gap that opens up, and now the opposition team goes and scores.
That also indicates that there's a lot of thought going on within this sport
Oh, yeah.
beyond brute force.
Yes, yes. I believe rugby is chess played on in physical form. You have to be thinking continuously while you're doing it, because there is realistically what's happening in front of you, but the second is also anticipating what's going to happen, where you're going to be, where the opposition might end up being after this. You have to think, you have to be ahead in that process. So, coming back to my point
The locker room.
of the losses,
Mm.
the minute losses what we overcome on field is what uh, builds us. But let's say after a match loss, uh, it's
Is there
if I'm supposed to,
something that the coach does for y'all, or
no, the coach is usually very they themselves are disappointed, so they don't know, they don't usually talk in that
state of mind?
space and
Ah,
state of mind, because they know that they might end up saying something that might hurt somebody. So might as well just keep the emotions and let it be as is, let everyone feel what they're feeling. But everyone's sad, everyone starts introspecting. There are moments where you know people start blaming each other.
mm,
तूने ऐसे किया इसलिए, अरे तू क्यों नहीं आई वहाँ पे, तेरे से टैकल मिस हो गया, मैं कवर अप ही कर रही हूँ तेरे. We also have those kind of conversations, and it is unfortunately a part of loss, where now you suddenly realize that it's
but
everyone's.
there's still that's something that makes you want to go the next day back into the training field, right?
Yes, because new day, new sunlight, you move on,
Stick to the
stick to the routine. Because let's say even if you win, okay, we celebrate, and then you have to get up the next day and you have to go back to training,
That's true as well.
right? You either,
Somebody takes a trophy and puts it in some.
then somebody just go like both ways. You
Yeah.
go back to the field for your training,
Yeah.
because you have another year, and then
Somebody else
depending-
could take it from you the next year. So, all right. Now, for a lot of people who've been thinking, oh, these guys are just talking about rugby and just making something out like a mountain out of a molehill. Could you just say what exactly are the benefits that people could, or someone could get from getting into rugby playing as well, especially women?
um, taking contact
Yes.
withstanding it and getting up again is very empowering. Scenario 1.
Yes.
Scenario 2, somebody comes at you in full speed to get you down, but you find out a way to maneuver through that speed and dodge it.
Yes.
Very empowering.
Quick thinking.
Quick thinking. So for women specifically, again, there are little moments on field where you just feel like, oh, okay, I can withstand this. Then bloody hell, what's going back on at home is like piddle shit.
Mm.
I should be running that house.
Yes.
Oh, babe, maybe it's just once in a while. No, but I play another tournament and it happens again.
Yes.
And there was two girls now that came trying to get me down, but I ran my feet and I went and I scored the try.
Mm.
Okay, this is what I'm capable of. All right, now I start thinking, how can I get better at this? And slowly, that habit from the field and that leadership transfers into their homes. It is a fact that women, the the common woman, has to run her house,
Yes.
has to be in the house, has to provide for her house. Should she be exposed to sport, that house looks very different.
Mm.
It's not a it's not a space where there is just monologue happening. It's now a dialogue.
And to contingencies as well. You know how to face it or handle
Yeah,
it
yeah,
differently.
absolutely. So that is what a sport like rugby does. When you watch, you're standing on the other side of the field and you watch your teammate getting thrashed over there, which is a
Mm.
part of the
Yes.
sport. But you watch that happening. You somewhere build a thought in your head that, you know what, I'm gonna get back to this team in whatever strength is in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I will do whatever it takes to balance that one out.
You didn't say revenge.
It's not revenge,
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, in
That is
sport,
the appropriate word to balance it out.
yeah, it's balancing out what you put us through.
Yes.
You take our 2 meters, we'll take your 10. It's not revenge. It's just balancing out the math.
All right.
It's rugby
Amazing.
math.
Yes.
Nowadays, that's been happening, going around. No? What it does for women, when you ask me, is that it's these little moments of um, coming out of a pressure scenario that makes them think and understand that, you know what, if I can do this, anything outside of this is not a great deal, and that's what it does.
As a captain, what are the challenges that you have faced on field and off the field?
I i don't look at these things as challenge. I mean, I don't look at situations as challenges, so i I can't even think of any.
Okay.
they're they're a part of the process.
Mhm.
So there isn't any challenge per se that I've faced as a captain, if you ask me.
Okay.
Yeah. Not even as an athlete, for that matter. I mean, yeah, there's no challenges. There's just, it's a part of the process. Like I said, you play a sport which is not known in the country, and then you introduce yourself as a rugby player. People's jaws are going to drop and eyebrows are going to raise. What the hell is this now that you're talking about? And I cannot term that as a challenge.
Yeah. Okay.
Or even the sport not being known much in the country is not a challenge. It is what it is. You just got to keep working hard and making sure that you do the right things while you're in it.
And I think it's been working well I've been seeing a lot of women's sport rising
Yeah.
recently in India. But how do you leverage your team's progress against the male rugby side of things?
Um,
For example, how many international tournaments are they making it through to, or
oh,
sponsor?
so our union again is very, very clear about the fact that whatever happens will happen equal.
Okay.
Even the remunerations we get through our camp, the per days, everything is
Sponsorship and all that?
everything is equal. Everything is equal. There are certain sponsors that say that we only want to support the women. There's many sponsors that come in and say, okay, we want to give our money towards the men. That way, then it's different.
Mm.
But in terms of exposure, in terms of opportunities, it's all the same. It's equal. In fact, last year it was the women's side that qualified for the Asian Games
Mm-hmm.
and the Olympic
Mm-hmm.
qualifiers. So we had two more campaigns than the men last year,
Right.
whereas they had only one.
Because the reason I was saying this is because there might be reason for a little bit of downplay in the mind that there might be a bit more favoritism on the other side and things
No,
like
no,
that.
no, no,
So
none of that. None of that happens. So we don't even, we don't face it. So
no,
we
that's
don't think about
wonderful
it.
from what you've said, and
Yeah,
it's well balanced.
yeah. In our sport, like I said, the union is running it extremely well in terms of keeping everything same for both the genders.
Amazing. And Wabis, I'm aware you're also a physiotherapist. You have this talk on how you wanted to make sure that you witnessed other physio during the field,
Yeah,
and then you wanted to put yourselves into their
yeah.
shoes. Um, Now, how does a person in India leverage the fact that you've got to have another, I don't want to say it, but side gig or that's demeaning, but how do you balance two passions at the same time to make a living?
Again, like I had mentioned in my previous the start of this conversation about, I knew I wanted to be in sport.
Mm,
I knew I had to do something academically. Within that, I knew I wanted to be doing something which helped sports people.
yeah.
Either it be psychology, either it be I didn't know about physiotherapy back in the day, but that was certainly sport medicine. That whole umbrella was one of the things that was in my head. And when I got exposed to it, I'm like, this is it, man. This is what I want to do. And then I realized what is required to be a
And it was not
physiotherapist.
easy, it was a bit
It
of
was not
both.
easy. It was completely different from what I had imagined it to be. But I'm happy to have found myself on this side. That my life doesn't completely wholly solely dependent on just one aspect in life.
Mm,
I have two lives that I live, which inter
they intertwine, I guess, right?
intertwine completely with each other.
Mm.
uh, and I like, you asked me how does one do it. You just have to decide that what you want to do in life, bro, and what is it that makes you.
But you found the closest variant or
No, I'd say that even if
line of
I
profession.
know of people who are well, uh, my one friend is in the army and she plays rugby, but that's again very intertwined.
Mm,
My one friend's a strength and conditioning coach, and but my one friend's a lecturer in philosophy.
right.
She I think she's in on her way to do a PhD, or she had done her PhD, or so completely different schools. But when rugby stopped for her, she immediately found herself a job that pays her well as well.
And looking at the career aspects in today's day of age, like the social media age or so, how important is personal branding? Are you aware of the term?
I am, very loosely.
Because you've done your share of talks, and I feel for that matter, it was not for the purpose of personal branding, but it does help.
Certainly, I mean, uh, what I've experienced. Okay, so personal branding is great when, okay, we're sitting in a conversation, and I'm on a table where people don't even know what is happening in the sporting world.
Mm,
And now I talk about, okay, so I play rugby for India, I've captained the team, and I'm a physiotherapist. I've also been for the physio for the team. Now there, that branding is very important because now they know
builds authority.
many things.
They listen to you.
They listen to me, number one, but that's not the intention. The intention is that they should know that there's a rugby team,
Mm,
that this person plays rugby, or that
yes.
she comes from our city.
Mm,
For some people, oh, she's my neighbor,
mm,
you know and that's where I feel the branding is very important. And then word spreads like fire.
yeah.
So even the way you got to know about me,
Yes. Indeed.
it would have been through knowing from someone else.
Indeed.
Because at some point I would have spoken about myself somewhere, and then that word reached you.
Yes. Indeed.
And that's the only way I would say that personal branding is important. Yeah.
Babis, could you recall an incident that has opened the doors on certain international standards of practices followed in sports that was not there in Indian rugby yet. And then you've gotten to understand that, oh, this is also something that can be done in terms of probably team bonding or uh, exercise or whatever. Because when you go abroad for tournaments and things like that, you meet new people, you talk different things, you visit their locker rooms and gyms. And what are those some of those learnings that you've been able to bring from there to here?
So one of the things is the strengthening and conditioning program. We as Indians, I mean the average Indian woman. So even if you see our team, we're very timidly built,
Mm,
not very tall,
mm,
not very wide,
mm.
not very big.
Eating spicy food.
Uh,
Just kidding.
yeah, that also. But we're not that quintessential rugby
Built.
built. So one of the things that actually was brought into our system very recently was a strengthening program, lifting weights, consuming protein for recovery, which was not there even 5 years ago. So
And that's been there since abroad for a while.
it's a process abroad. I mean, when it's a system that is set, that should you go into a high performance system or should you want to be a professional athlete, you have to follow this process, which is putting your body on the line every given
Mm,
point of time.
mm,
And to sustain that, you have to have your strengthening program in place, you have to have your strength conditioning program in
true.
place, you have to have your physiotherapy sessions in place, you have to have your nutrition in place, and massage sessions in place, and everything then falls in the system. So these are the things that have been slowly brought into the Indian ecosystem for rugby. Again, nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
Even 1 year is not enough to build that amount of strength. So it's a work in progress that we are in right now,
Okay.
because it's like I said, it's just been introduced about 3 years ago,
Okay.
4 years ago max.
But that's still taking us international in terms of standards and practices.
Yes, yes, we're certainly withstanding the game much better on field.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And this might be a bit of an offbeat question, but I still believe this is essential because we're talking about sportswomen here.
Yeah.
Um, I'm referring to handling your period cycles, or probably if you want to call it the mood swings, or situations related to pregnancy that could come between your career and, or even motherhood.
Hmm.
What should a person who's like a partner to a sportswoman deal with in terms of knowledge and understanding so that he makes sure that he gives ample balance and support for a woman being a woman and being a sports person at the same time?
In terms of the support you ask,
Yes.
uh, many
I'm
times,
talking about not just the coaches because they do their
yes,
job pretty well, but
family support, like
family support. Yeah.
specifically spouse support, you're saying.
Indeed. Yeah. Partner, whatever you want to call it.
I would say that on a lot of days, the woman just wants to come home and unwind.
Mm,
And unwind can be taking a cold shower,
mm,
unwind can be folding clothes, unwind can look like cooking a meal,
mm,
unwind can look like emptying the entire cupboard and putting it back, unwind can look like setting up your vessels for the next day.
mm.
Uh, these are the various ways in which unwind looks. Let her go through that process. Sure, you can help, lend a helping hand in that, but the best thing to do is just be there.
Hmm.
And if she has something to share or she's irritated about that, you know what, this is what the coach said to me today, what do they think, da, 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 da. Don't try and make it sensible, just listen, you know. Yeah, okay, you know. Yeah, yeah, yes, just
I get
just
it.
listen. And you mentioned period cycle, maybe she's in that time of the month where, you know, lots is going on inside the body, so she herself is not being able to go through her thoughts well, and bifurcate it for herself. So she doesn't want someone to do it. So as a spouse, just be there.
Yeah.
And if you've seen that uh, she's had a day full of this, and not only mental but also physical. Let's say she's a rugby player, and she's a professional rugby player, and she's played through the day, and now she's on the call with you. Don't rant about your issues to her, especially when you know what the time of the month is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
true. Because the thing is, we are so glorified by the sort of dangle and chuck day and all that side of women's sport, but there's a completely different personal side to it, which nobody knows and nobody is able to understand. So I felt that this
Yeah,
was.
yeah, certainly. That look, with regards to the spouse support, yeah, just be there is very simply put.
I mentioned this a while earlier, but I want to say this again. As of the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of progression when it comes to individual and group sport achievements from women. Even the recent RCB win, right?
Yeah, man.
I mean, taking it,
Amazing, na?
yes, taking a
What?
hit at the male side, and
Yeah, I mean, what the
I
team
think
was not able to do for 13, 16
as a
years.
guy, I thoroughly enjoyed it myself. So there's a lot of progression and recognition coming. Do we see chances of more women coaches coming up in India? Because I feel it can do great deal for any sport on the ladies' side of things.
It will be an era because it is now that many women are
Indeed,
getting into sport.
like yourself, you could be the next line of a coach as well.
Sure, yeah.
Because wherever you see, even if it's a women's football team, there you go. Whether it's a women's rugby team, you have a male person. I mean, nothing against that,
Yeah.
but then we're all about this conversation of equality and opportunity and all that. So I just wanted to check on the India situation with regards.
So uh, like you said, and I will take it from there that women are now playing sport
Mm.
a lot and taking up sport quite a bit
And winning.
and winning. So it will take this era of women to become of age to have a large base of quality coaches, because until now there have been women in sport. It's not been the same percentage as is now.
Yes.
And let's just say that there were 100 women playing sport back in the day, and now there are 1,000. From that 100, you have had a 50 who have taken to coaching, and maybe 20 who've done well in it.
Mm.
So from 100, you got 20.
Yes,
From 1,000, you'll get 200.
that's true.
But we're yet to reach that stage where these 1,000 come to age to be that 200.
Yes. So it's the age factor and the maturity.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It can also be that somebody decides that, you know what, I want to play for India 2 times and then I'm done. And they then take to coaching.
Yeah.
She can be 25,
Yeah.
but she has made that choice. So she takes to coaching then.
And what is the future of rugby in India?
It's looking very promising because things are just starting to open up, and people are starting to benefit from the sport to a large extent. So we're looking at huge numbers joining the game slowly but steadily.
Is there anything being done? Because I come from the south. Is there, it's like a, I don't know. You know what they say. It's a totally different breed of people down there and mentality and all that. But sport is sport, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people would really enjoy it. Why not? So I'm just saying, we're looking forward to rugby making it through to all four corners.
There we have
I think you've made it far as Bangalore, and then
no,
you've
no.
mentioned about Chennai as well,
So
right?
all of them are here as well. So you have Tamil Nadu,
Mm-hmm.
you have Telangana, Kerala,
Okay.
and I'm not sure if Karnataka has shown up for this tournament. I will have
Right.
to check.
So I have to take back what I said.
Yeah, 29 states.
Right.
29 states are playing the sport. So everyone is playing the sport.
That's
Everyone
right.
is playing the game.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Even Andamans plays. Did you know that?
no,
Hmm.
but there you go. Just a few bits and pieces to close this. Um, the World Rugby, quote unquote, which is the rugby's international governing body, y- the body had begun this unique campaign in 2019, where 15 women from 15 different countries were chosen. and you had,
Unstoppables.
yes, everyone from different parts of the world had to come up with their inspirational story, and in turn encourage young girls into the sport. Now, if there were no restrictions for me on this communication, what words of encouragement would you give? No holds barred, so that you look beyond the usual women's sports.
My only words of encouragement to anybody, putting very simply, will be that dream and achieve it. Don't you don't visualize yourself into something and um, not live up to the end. If I have thought that, you know what, I'm gonna make it to that Pune team, I do everything in my capacity, train extra hours. It doesn't take a lot. All it takes is a little bit of intention and a little bit of hard work. Consistency is something that is has to be more
Yeah,
with you than your shadow.
right,
You have to keep that with you,
right.
because if you're not, if you can be hardworking, but if you're not going to be consistent about it, it's going to show you. You're basically like a piece of, you're like a loaf of bread. You put little extra yeast, your bread will show up a different way. You put a little extra salt, nobody was going to eat it. You put less flour, you're going to get a small bun. So you have to understand that it is the perfect mix and the perfect balance of things that is going to get you your best piece of bread. And for me, those that perfect ingredient is hard work and consistency.
Seek and you shall find it. Always, it's been a pleasure talking
Thank
to
you.
you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
giving us the time for this opportunity.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for choosing me for this and coming all the way.
yeah, I wish you inspire many more into the sport, and I wish you personally a lot of success into not just being the coach, but later on being an idol
Thank
within
you.
this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.